Hi, my name is Jeanette, and I'm the digital content manager here at Opens Clicks Cash. And today we're going to be talking about how you can create a pop-up form on your website. But before we get into the content, I just want to remind you, make sure you like this video, share it on all your social media platforms. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do right now because every Wednesday and Friday we drop new videos on how you can grow your business. Okay, now if you're not sure what a pop-up form is, it's just a small window that comes on screen once you get to a certain web page or website. It can be on any page. It doesn't have to be your main home page, but it's just a window that pops up that asks the visitor to do something. Usually it will say, keep in touch, join our newsletter. It could also have a coupon code, or it might just be, some kind of free resource like an ebook or something like that. Now, as far as what you offer your visitors, it doesn't matter. It's just that you want to give them an incentive to give you their information. Usually it's just their email and their first name, but you can also add more fields to the pop-up form if you want. If you don't know what to offer them, another option you could do is go onto ChatGPT and just ask it to come up with a list of potential offers that you can give for free in exchange for your website visitors' email and name. Now, why should you have a pop-up form? Okay, so in general, pop-up forms convert at about a 3% rate. So that's pretty good considering the fact that you only have to set it up once and it's actually working for you in the background. So every 100 visitors that come to your site, about 3 of them will go ahead and give you their information and you'll be able to keep in touch and market to them your products and services. Okay, so also there are some higher performing pop-up forms that actually convert at rates like 9%. So anywhere between 3 and 9%, depending on what the offer is and what your, how motivated your audience is, you could do a lot more than 3%, but 3% is still pretty good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go inside of Ontraport. We're going to create our pop-up form. Then we're going to add it to the page that we're going to use. And then we're going to set up a quick automation that will just send out a confirmation email to whoever signs up. So we're going to go ahead and jump in Ontraport and do that now. All right, so here we are inside of Ontraport. And like I was saying, the first thing we're going to do is create a form. So just a side note, if you don't use Ontraport, I'm confident that this tutorial will still help you to set this up inside of whatever CRM software that you have. But if you want to try Ontraport, make sure you click the link in the description box below because we do have a link where you can get 14 days for free, okay? Okay, so if you hover on contacts in the top menu, you will see a drop down and then you want to go down to forms and click on forms. Then you want to click this orange box that says new form. And then you click right on Form. All right, and so they do have a lot of templates, or you can build a form from scratch. Today, I'm going to use a template. I'm just going to create a quick pop-up form that's inviting the website visitors to join or subscribe to our newsletter. So I'm going to go ahead and use this red cup template here. They do have a lot of options that you can choose from. And very first thing I'm going to do, of course, is give this asset a name. So up at the top left, I'm just going to name it OCC pop-up form. And then I'll start editing. So as you know, these are completely customizable. You can change everything on here to suit your needs. So I'm going to start with the top. I'm going to click edit in the middle, edit again, and then I'm going to edit the top header. I'm just going to say, subscribe to our weekly newsletter. And then I can click edit again to change the copy here. So I should say now that I'm going to add this pop-up to the web page that we created for one of our previous tutorials where I was showing you how to create upsells and downsells. For that example, we created a web page that was offering people a book. So it was a Chicago real estate guide, and we created an upsell and a downsell on that landing page. But for this example, of course, we are creating a pop-up, but I can still use the same page since it's already done. And, so I'm going to say, join our email list to get exclusive Chicago property listings. Just something simple, but of course you can put in here whatever you like. And then I'm going to click save on the left. And keep in mind that there are some other options. Like if I wanted to add a button up here, I could. I'm not going to. But yeah, when you edit templates, you can always play around with it and see, what else is on there. All right, so at the bottom here, I'm just going to click done on the left. All right, so at the bottom here is the actual form. As you can see, it already has name, email, and message fields. If you want to add more, custom fields for your opt-in pop-up, you can always do that. So how you would do that is click on edit again, and then you can click add on the left. And then there would be a drop down of different custom fields that you can choose from. So, if you wanted to put in, if we had a pet shop and this was a pop-up on a pet shop website, you might put pet type or something like that. So whatever makes sense for your business. For this example, I'm not going to add anything else, but I did want you to see, how you can do it if need be. This message box doesn't make sense because we're asking people to join our newsletter. So I'm going to remove this where it says notes here on the left. I'm just going to toggle that off. I could delete it, but I'm not going to. So I just toggled it off and see now it's gone. So I can hit done and done again. Now all they have to do is add their name, email, and then click on submit. So as you can see under here, there's a little bit more copy. You can also edit that. So I'm just going to put our newsletters go out each Friday at 8 a.m. CST. So of course I didn't have to do that. I could have just deleted it or left it as is. Also, there's a small icon of a cup. I can change that to our logo. I'm not going to, but I just want to show you that everything can be changed, even the color. So if you wanted to change the color, you would just click on whatever block and then go up here to where it says block colors and you can change it. Okay, so just showing you where everything is. But for this example, I don't think it's necessary for me to change anything, but at least if you need to, you can. So I'm just going to click done on the left and I'm going to hit save. Just going to take another quick look. Okay, so I'm going to click save. I know I already did, but I just save everything multiple times for whatever reason. So now you can click on this this blue arrow up here in the top left to exit out of here. And you will see the pop-up form right here. All right, so now we need to add this form to our landing page. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so at the top in the menu over to the right, you'll see pages. You just click there. And then, of course, you would select whatever page you're using. I'm using this page for our Chicago real estate guide. And here is the page. Okay, so on the left, you will see two different tabs. One says elements, the other says settings. You will click on settings. And then you would scroll down and right here you have all the pop-up options here. So the first one says pop a light box on user scroll, pop a light box after a certain amount of time on the page. That's the one I'm going to use for this example. And then there's an option for the pop a light box to display as the user intends to exit the page. So if the system senses that the person is scrolling up to the top and kind of moving their cursor to the right as though they're about to exit out, then the pop-up will display. Again, I'm going to use the middle one, and this one comes up after a certain amount of time that they've been on the page. So right now it says off. I'm going to just toggle it on. And then they're asking me what form. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to go down to our pop-up form. Now, once you start creating forms and you have multiple, assets in your account, you will see probably a long list. So of course you want to make sure you pick the right one. And then you can also choose where you want it to show up. So I'm going to leave it here where it pops up right in the middle. But if you wanted it to come out, on the left or on the right or down at the corner in the left, you can decide how you want the pop-up to display. I think it makes sense for it to be in the middle, so I'm going to leave it there. And it's asking, when do you want it to display? Do you want it to display after 3 seconds? I think that sounds good, but you can change that. So you can do, 10 seconds or whatever you decide. And then if you scroll down, you have some more options. So, all right, it's asking how often do you want to repeat these, the pop-up settings. So if the pop-up has been closed or filled out, don't show this to the visitor again. Yes, you would check that. That makes sense. And then display this pop-up once during how long do you want to give them? So if someone, maybe they exit out for a second to check email, then they come right back or something like that. If they do leave and come back within a 3-hour time frame, they will not get the same pop-up. Now, if you want them to keep getting it every time, then, you can change this, and you can you would actually uncheck it. So if you wanted to give it a time limit, you would check it. For me, I'm going to leave it, I think at 1 hour. So if someone leaves and comes back within an hour, they're not going to get the same pop-up. If it's after an hour, they will get it. You can also decide on how many times you want to show them the pop-up at all. So if you only want them to see it once, or if you're okay with them seeing it every single time they visit your website. So it just depends on, how you want to do it. Right now, this button or this box is not checked. So that means every single time they come to the site, as long as it's not within an hour, they will continue to get that pop-up until they fill it out or, close out of it. So I'm just going to hit done. All those settings are taken care of. So now you would just save, and then you will go ahead and publish it. So now the changes have been published, and as soon as you go to the website, you will see the pop-up after 3 seconds. Okay, so really quickly, I just want you to know that if you want to split test, I'm going to move my window really quick. 1 second. Okay. So if you want to do a split test, let's just say you want to split test between inviting someone to join or subscribe to your newsletter, and you want to split test that with, offering them a free resource like an ebook or something like that. You can do that. You can go up to this little box on the right where it says AB, and you will click there, and you will see a quick drop down. It says split test. You will just toggle that on, and then automatically the page that you're seeing becomes version A. And then you would click add new, and you would decide, okay, for your split test, do you want to make a copy of the same page? In this case, you would. And then it will take you to version B. Now, version B would need the same settings done on the other pop-up. So the one we just did was a pop-up for an invitation to subscribe to the newsletter. And here for version B, we could add in our pop-up for a free resource, something like, an ebook. But, this would just help you to determine what your audience prefers or what kind of information they're looking for in order to, motivate them to share their contact information for you, with you, excuse me. So another thing you could split test is when the pop-up comes onto the screen. So you can split test if the pop-up comes on after 3 seconds, the way we just set it up now, or you can split test, or, with that, you can split test version B being that it displays immediately, or it displays when the person is intending to exit the page. So you might want to just split test what kind of offer you give on the pop-up. Again, like inviting them to subscribe to the newsletter and offering them something free or some kind of discount code. And then once you see what people react to more, or what converts them at a higher rate, then you would take that and then you can split test how it pops up. So does it pop up immediately? Does it pop up after 3 seconds? Does it pop up, when the user is getting ready to leave the page? That way you can really optimize your landing page, okay? Because you won't know until you test it. So definitely go with the data. But right now we're not talking about split testing pages. So I am going to go back up to here where it says split test. I'm going to delete version B. And then I'm going to toggle this split test off. So I'm going to save, and we're back to where we were. So now I'm going to go to the page and just show you, that it popped up. So I'm going to click on this blue button here to get out of this page. And then I'm going to click on the domain. I'm going to show you how, after a few seconds, it'll pop up right in the middle. See, subscribe to our weekly newsletter, join our email list to get exclusive Chicago property listings. I can put in the name, email, and then hit submit, of course. All right, but I'm not going to do that yet. I am going to show you, what happens when that form is filled out. But first, we have to create the automation that will send out a confirmation email once the form gets filled out. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so in order to create an automation, we're going to go back to the top menu, hover on contacts, and then go down to automations, click there. And then we're going to click this orange box that says new automation. And for this, we are going to start from scratch. Okay, so of course, I'm going to give this automation a name. Okay. All right, so as you know, every automation map comes with a trigger that's already there, and it's just asking, if someone is added to this automation map manually, what do you want to happen? Now, because this is for, an opt-in form, nobody is going to, be added to this automation map manually. So where it says what happens next, I'm just going to click there, and then I'm going to add an end element. Okay. So now that that's done, I'm going to click on this arrow right next to that first trigger. I'm going to click there to add another one. And the trigger here is going to be form is submitted. So contact submits a form. Now they're going to ask, okay, well, what form? So we're going to put the OCC pop-up form. And then we're going to hit, oh, well, first let's look at the settings. I'm going to move this window. All right. So who can activate this trigger? Any contact in the account, or just any contact on this map? So any contact in the account is correct. That is the default selection. So I'm going to leave that there. And then they're asking if the contact is already on this map, then ignore this trigger. That is correct. The reason being is because it's for a newsletter opt-in. Once they opt into the newsletter, that's it. They don't need to opt in again, even if they accidentally fill out the form again, it doesn't matter. Now, if this was something like a free resource, let's say, an ebook or a checklist or something like that, I would not say ignore, because maybe they lost it, or maybe somehow it got deleted and they actually do need it again. Okay, so then you could just say add here again when triggered. So, that would be fine. But like I said, in this case, they're just subscribing to a newsletter email list. So it doesn't, they don't need to activate this trigger again. So I'm going to leave it as ignore. And then I'm going to click done. Okay, so as soon as they complete the pop-up form on the website, what do we want to happen? Okay, we want them to get an email. So we want them to get an email confirmation. And I'm going to click back on this element. And they're asking us to select which email do we want to send them. So there's no emails. We're going to have to create one. So you can click on new message. And we have to give it a name. So I'm just going to give it a quick name. I'm just going to say welcome email. Okay. All right. So then you can click on save and edit, this blue button here. And then we use raw HTML emails. And then, of course, you would fill out all the top information. You can add in a subject line, welcome to Opens Clicks Cash. Okay. All right. So the pre-header, you just say, happy to have you. Of course, get more creative, and you can always ask ChatGPT or use the AI assistant. Actually, in this case, I am going to go ahead and use the AI assistant. All right, and they're asking, what can we write for you? So I'm just going to say, write a 200-word welcome email for new subscribers who opted into our Chicago real estate newsletter. And that's it. So I'm just going to let them write it out. Just as good as ChatGPT, I found. So I haven't had any issues. I'm going to copy the clipboard and I'm going to paste. Oh, I have to do Control V. And then, of course, you would fill out the signature information and all of that. I'm not going to do that right now. And of course, you want to delete the subject because we already have a subject line. And this is really interesting. So Ontraport has an AI assistant, but they're not using their own format for the fields, the merge fields. So it says dear subscriber's name. If you use this in Ontraport, make sure you change that because it would literally be sent out like that. So you always want to use the same format that your software uses. Okay, so now it says dear first name. Now that would come out correctly once we send it. Okay, so at the bottom, you always want to wrap long lines and then copy from HTML and then click yes. And let me move my window. Okay, and then we are going to click save. Okay, so now we have our automation going where new visitors would be able to complete the form on our website, and then they would immediately receive a confirmation. So I'm going to click done. And then one thing to consider, this is what we do. We also tag people. So you can click on what happens next, click on change tags, and then you would add a tag. It already says add, and then you would just add, we're going to click new tag because I don't think I have one here. So I'm just going to say newsletter subscriber. And of course, based on whatever, you're offering them on the pop-up form, you would create a tag that's appropriate, but this is what we're doing. So that's why I went ahead and added this tag. So finally, what happens next after they get the tag, they just need to leave the map. All right, so we're going to click end. And then once you go in here, you can click remove, check the box that removes the contact from this automation. Okay. All right. So in our next video, we're going to talk about how to create a top of mind automation. But for now, I'm not going to do that, but just know that in another automation map, there will be a trigger that says tag is added because you might be wondering, okay, well, Jeanette, you added their tag for newsletter subscriber, but how do they actually start getting the newsletter? Okay, well, we're going to talk about that in the next video. So the next video, we're going to set up an automation map that pulls everyone in who has a newsletter subscriber tag and puts them in rotation to start receiving that every week. Okay, but for now, this automation map is done. So I'm just going to hit save and then publish. And I'm going to close this out. So now it's live. And the next thing we're going to do, the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to fill out the form and then we'll go into my email so that you can see the confirmation. Okay. All right, let's do that now. All right, so I just realized something. The way we set up the pop-up form to display on screen is if someone leaves and comes back to the website within an hour, they will not see the pop-up. So I just went ahead and deleted all my browsing history and everything. And then I'm going to also use a new incognito window. So this should work. So let's go ahead and test it. All right, so here we are on the page. The pop-up should come up. Okay, there's our pop-up. So I'm going to fill it out. All right, so I just filled out the form. I got my thank you. And now I'm going to show you all my email. So I'm going to click there. You can see everything we wrote. Dear Jeanette, welcome to our Chicago real estate newsletter community, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the automation did work. I'm going to also show you inside of the automation. So if you remember, the first trigger would be that the form is submitted. So you see that one person submitted it, that was me. Then you will see that the email went out to that one person and you can see that the tag was given, okay? And then they exited the map. So everything worked out exactly the way we wanted it to, and we're done with this tutorial. So hopefully you found this helpful and you'll be able to set up a pop-up form inside of your CRM system. Just a few things to remember. Number one, you do not have to only use pop-up forms on your main homepage, okay? So if you have a page on your website with a bunch of your different products or things like that, you can still add pop-ups on every page of your website if you wanted to. So, if you see someone is getting ready to exit out, you might have a pop-up that says, hey, book a consultation call with me. I want to answer your questions. Or, hey, I noticed you were looking at my products. Maybe if you're not ready yet, you can, use this ebook. Let me know what you think. It can just be anything. You can just get creative and figure out different touch points of how you want to connect with your audience. Another thing is always, always, always split test. Okay, so split test the different offers that you give to your audience on the pop-up forms. All right, maybe your newsletter invitation is not appealing to them. Okay, so if you have a pet shop or something like that, maybe people don't want to read about pets. So you might, want to offer them something else like a discount code because they're going to be shopping with you. So them purchasing something at a discount might be more appealing. So you always want to split test what offers you give them on the pop-up form. And then you can also split test when the pop-up displays, whether it's immediately after a few seconds or based on the user's exit intentions. So that's another thing you want to think about, okay? And also, if you can't think of anything to offer them in exchange for their information, ask ChatGPT to come up with a few different options that you can choose from or just be inspired by. Lastly, you can always check other people's websites. So, go to some of your competitors' sites and see what they're offering on their pop-ups and, maybe even sign up and just see what kind of content that they're giving people for free in exchange for their email and name information, okay? But again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you share this, make sure you like it, and definitely subscribe, okay? Because next video, we're going to be talking about how you can create that top of mind automation. So once someone joins in from your pop-up and they get that newsletter tag, now we're going to build out the actual automation that's going to start sending them those top of mind emails, which in this case will be a weekly newsletter. All right, so see you next time. Thank you.